Hello everybody, this is Kelly Atchison at AStampAbove.com coming to you from Menasha, Wisconsin. Today I'm going to share with you how to make this adorable little card box. The flap, and it gets tucked in right here. We're also using some of this cording trim that I absolutely love, and the Candy Cane Lane Designer Series paper with the Candy Cane Lane Christmas stamp set and some adorable little embellishments. So let's get started and I'll show you how to make this. It's really easy. The first thing I did was cut my 2 pieces of cardstock that I need for the box. And this flap box, I use 12 by 12 real red cardstock, but you could certainly use 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11. The cover, or the part that goes around the outside of my box, is 11 inches long by 4 3/4, and then the box itself that's inside is 6 1/4 by 8 1/4. So we're going to put the cover in our paper trimmer. You could use your Simply Scored scoring tool, or you could use your paper trimmer. And we're going to score this long side at 6 1/2 and 7 1/4. And that's all there is to that one. The other layer, that's 6 1/4 by 8 1/4, on the longer side, we're going to score that at 3 3/4 and 4 1/2. So we've got 3 3/4, 4 1/2. If you hop over to my blog, you'll find all of these dimensions and scoring instructions in one place for you. I know that's a lot easier than trying to write down and rewind and go forward on a video. Then we're going to take the shorter side and we're going to score that at 3/4 and 5 1/2. So I've got 3/4 there, and then I'm going to do 5 1/2. And basically it's just 3/4 on both sides. Now with the box part of our card box, you're going to cut on the 2 score lines right here to make that tab. And remember, when we're cutting boxes, we like to cut a little notch out. Your boxes will go together much nicer if you do that. You're going to do that on both sides here. We're going to use our bone folder to burnish all of our edges because we want them to be nice and crisp. It's really important. It's very important also when you're making boxes that you are scoring exactly on the measurements that I've given you. Otherwise your boxes won't go together well. I've done that. It's not fun. Oops. There we go. Here's our little box, and here is the flap that goes around the outside of the box. And I'm going to round the corners on my flap, and I like to do that in my envelope punch board. If you don't have an envelope punch board, you can certainly use a corner rounder if you have one of those, but highly recommend this little tool. It's one of my favorites. And now before we put our box together, this is where I like to add in my Designer Series paper layers. And I'll tell you what I have here. Using the Candy Cane Lane Designer Series paper. And this paper is just beautiful. There's so many different patterns in here, and they're all color coordinated. And did you know that on the back of our paper it tells which colors of solid cardstock go with our Designer Series paper packs? For the Candy Cane Lane, we've got Crumb Cake, Early Espresso, Real Red, and Whisper White. I've got 2 pieces here of the Candy Cane Lane, and these are both 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. So 2 pieces at 3 1/2 by 4 1/2, and 1 piece that's 4 1/2 by 6 1/4. I've already rounded the corners on this layer right here, so we know that this is going to go on our flap over here. And we're going to take this piece and put it on the front of our card box. And I want the striped side out. And that's what I love about Designer Series, our Designer Series paper. Almost all of it is double-sided, so you get two different choices to use. And they color coordinate, so you can use both of them on a card or project. Okay, so once you have that glued down in place, we are going to put our box together. And here's how I recommend doing that. I recommend folding in these two side flaps and getting glue on that little tab. Whoops. Don't run off your cardstock project. And you want to make sure that you get glue, especially around the outside edges, because that's going to make your box stay together better. You don't need a lot of glue on your tab. Make sure your tab's folded in, because we are going to put our tabs in here like this, and then the front of your box is going to go around the outside here. And I'm just going to hold these in place, make sure they're nice and even before they start to stick. And if you'd like, you can put your bone folder down in there and get that little tab pressed down against the side of your box. And I want to do those tabs in there because otherwise when you're putting your cards in here, those tabs are going to get in the way and make you angry. They make me angry. Okay, so here's the flap. And like I said, I've already corner round this part. And for the flap, I'm going to leave the confetti polka dot side out. I just think this is so pretty. There we go. This little piece is 4.5 by 1/2 inch. And this is just going to go on the top of my box. Fill that in. And our bigger piece goes on the bottom of our flap. Just like this. I love making boxes, and this one is really super, super easy. Okay, now that we have this done and we have our box done, we're going to glue our box in here. We don't have any more decorating to do to this piece, so it's a good time. Now I like to hold mine up and kind of stack it together. That way I know that it is even with the bottom and I can feel or maneuver it on the sides. Then I'll lay it down and slide my hand in here and give it a good firm press so that it stays where it needs to be. There's our box. Isn't that cute? Again, just a really, really easy box. Now, how did I decorate up my box? I took a piece of Whisper White cardstock and my Real Red ink pad and my greeting stamp here. And I'm going to stamp Christmas treats just for you. Now, that might seem a little odd, but you know what? It doesn't always have to be about food or something you can eat, because what I'm making here is a gift for somebody. So I am going to die cut this in my circle die that is approximately 2.5, just a little bit less than 2.5 inches. I'll be right back. And there we go. Now I'd like to stamp some other little images on here to spruce it up a little bit. You'll notice that I die cut it down a little lower. It's not centered so that I could come in with some of these cute little peppermint candies that I think are always adorable when they're stamped, right? And now, you know our layering circles come with scallops that also are layering or graduated sizes. So I use this scallop to cut out an early espresso layer, and I am going to use that as my background for this little greeting. Before I do that, I wanted to show you these little embellishments that I use to dress up my card box. And you've got a bell and a gingerbread and some ivy. Is that what they call that? Yeah, ivy with the green and the little red berries. But you get a whole pack of these. They're just charming. The bell is actually double-sided, as is the ivy, and the gingerbread man isn't, but aren't these just the cutest? And then I'm also going to use one of these little red jingle bells. You get silver or red in this package, and I think you get 50 of them. It's a lot. I'll have the details on my blog for all of these products. I'll have all the ingredients on there too. But I am going to take a little red jingle bell and one of my embellishments, and I strung it through some of our linen thread. So I put linen thread through both of these, and now I'm just going to tie it in a single knot to hold it together. Isn't that cute? And I want this on the back of my greeting layer. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a piece of tape, and I'm going to, whoops, make sure you do it so that the front is facing out where my little jingle bell is. You can let it hang down just a little bit, or you can make it nice and snug so it's not really moving around much. It's yours, so you do whatever you want. I'm going to spread this thread out just a little bit so that my tape can catch both pieces nicely. That just helps secure it. Isn't that cute? I love it. And we're going to trim off these extra tails. We don't need those. And now I'm going to glue this to my early espresso layer. Can you hear the TV in the other room? My husband is home today, and he certainly has it loud enough, doesn't he? He's always yelling at me about my TV being loud, but I can't hear that good anymore. So there. Here they are. Now, here's how I'm going to put my dimensionals on here. I'm going to put one on the bottom of my layer, and I am going to take the other one, and I'm going to make sure that this isn't pushed like this or like this. You want it to be nice and even here. And I'm going to put one of my dimensionals right up to that edge where it meets, so that it's even. Now this way, when this is closing, it's going to stop there, so it doesn't go down further, and your box is going to stay more uniform, right? So we're going to take this off and take the back off of this dimensional. And you don't want to put it too far up here, because then your flap won't go in and out. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So you just want a little bit of the flap up there, and I'm just going to press that very lightly, and now I can get in here and press this down good so it will hold. Isn't that cute? I love this. I love it. Okay, this is going to keep your box closed, and it's going to make it stop so it doesn't get all wonky on the top here. There's your new word for the day. All right, the only other thing that I added to my box is some of this craft rope trim, and this is just like rope. I absolutely love it. It's in the mini catalog. So I'm going to tie this around here, and I love using these bigger type of embellishments on 3D items like these and the little jingle bells, and now this rope. They work fabulous for your 3D items. They work great on your cards too, but I love doing them for this. I'm just going to tie this in a bow, and I've got about 22 inches here. I measured it just so I could be super duper nice to you. You could leave it on top here, but what I did with mine is I pulled it down so it came on the front of my card. Maybe a little more than 22 inches, you guys, because I would like my tails to hang down a little bit more than this. So there we go. Fabulous box, right? And if you go to my blog, you will be able to see all the fabulous cards that I put inside my box using the the Candy Cane Lane Designer Series paper. I have 4 of them here. Now, how do you find my blog? My blog is astampabove.com, and if you're watching this video on YouTube, you can look in the comments section under the video, and I will have a link there to my blog. If you're watching this in your emails because you're a subscriber, you can just Google astampabove.com and you'll find me. And again, I use the Candy Cane Lane Christmas stamp set, and this is just a really nice little element stamp set. It's meant to go with homemade treats that you may make, like candy or loaves of, what is that funky fruit nut bread stuff called? What is that called? You know, that fruity bread with all the colored candies in it. I don't remember what it's called. I know I don't care for it. But anyways, this is a great set to make tags for gifts and also Christmas present tags. I love all the little elements in here because those you can add to any Christmas cards you're making. So if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would be happy to earn your business. You can pop me an email at kelly@astampabove.com and I can send you our current catalogs if you don't have them. Make some cute boxes like this. This is going to be a gift for Christmas. I'm making Christmas presents already. This is actually a project for my Christmas stamp camp also, but when the stamp camp's over, these are mine and I'll be giving them away as gifts. And I just wanted to show you I have a couple different designs here. I use the candies on this one and I use the little stripes in that same stamp set on this one. We've got the little gingerbread guy here and the bells here. Very, very fun and easy project to make. So use your paper crafts to make some presents at Christmas time. People love homemade gifts. Add a little sparkle to someone's day. Send them a card.